Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of When Casinos Cry. In this episode, we are going to see Yuger over here try to get a little over 2,000 coins while we read Kikoni and Nakakoroni waiting for her outside of the casino. Apparently, this group has almost finished getting Jaden's side of the story. Everyone admonished Jaden, making him understand how rude identity confusion was to CPPs. Right now, the impact of your creeping me out was sinking in, and he was being warped in a fierce self-hatred. Wrapped in fierce self-hatred. It's not like you to let it get you down like this. Meow went too far as well. If he doesn't like being called weak, all he has to do is train on his own. The fact that he was so horrified just because he thought someone was treating him like a woman is pathetic for someone who is technically a Japanese boy. If he's so worried about his body, you should just train him up good at a gym or something. It sounds like he wants to be treated like a man, so whip him into shape. If that's what he wants, then sure, I won't hold back. I just discussed this with Naomi, and we agreed that a male bonding ceremony would be the best way for you two to make up. Nice. Go sweat together as men. It's the best way to make up. What do you mean, male bonding ceremony? In old Japanese manga, men who had grown distant would always resolve their problems like this. We can advise you in this virtual room, but our bodies are far away. We can't help you directly, so we're going to get a trustworthy friend, Gunhild, to set the stage. Huh? You're bringing Gunhild into this? I'd rather not tell the others in the AOU if I can help it. Don't worry, she understands you two far better than you know. I just texted her. Now, you only need to obey her instructions. Okay. He wasn't quite satisfied with this, but a text from Gunhild came almost immediately. You received a message. This is Gunhild. I asked that Meow and Jaden gather here immediately. Gather where? There was a blip on the map screen. Isn't that... I don't really get it, but I'll head on over. Everyone, thanks for hearing me out. Don't worry about it, young man. Life seems long, but it's shorter than you think. Enjoy your ignorant youth to the fullest. Jaden has exited the room. A short while after Jaden left, the girls who had been listening to Meow and Meow joined them. This will probably get their feelings back on the right track. Cases that can't be healed with medicine really make your back ache. When friends make up, they become even better friends. I hope they do. Meow really does love his partner, doesn't he? I suppose it's that trust that lets them fight the way they do. I have known it ever since the Battle Standard Festival. When it comes to bonds of trust, we of Bai Bao Squad are in no way inferior, princess. Momotake, I guess you'll never give in on that point. Okay then. I'll leave too, and look after the two ladies from Suparna. They're both so serious, they'll suffocate if I don't tease them. We shall leave too. Come now, back to training. Our next mocked enemy is AOU America's Atlantic Fleet. Whoa, princess, that's a bit harsh. 5 seconds after we helped Jaden of AOU America sort out his personal issues? Come on. You just know those AOUs are training for an assault on the Atlantis spirit field. I guess an ABN's doing an assault on Algiers, and the COU's doing a mine blockade of the Mozambique Channel. My, I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, pardon me, while I go memorize the Maputo Central Harbor layout. We also undergo training using other factions as mock enemies. It's no surprise that the same thing happens in reverse. We're all doing it. Even though we're all comrades who love the sky, and even though we do this job for the sake of peace, we are still soldiers. Understanding why it's like that doesn't make it any less tough. The walls of peace are heavy. We all have to get stronger if we're going to support them from both sides. Of course. When two combatants raise their swords at each other, it's essential that both sides have honed properly their skills. That sort of determination is essential both for military might and for comrades supporting the walls of peace. Indeed, Remaining attentive and not slacking off in your training is the best way for warriors to show respect for each other. Correct. Nothing would humiliate me more than hearing that the COU wasn't even worth training against. Hey, that's enough talking about scary things. In the It's a Wrap public bath, we all swore with Meow that we'd be friends. So stop saying scary stuff. You're right. The public bath oath is the most important one we've made, and it binds everyone here together. For now, let's put aside affiliations and factions, and pray that our friends Meow and Jaden are okay. Make up okay, yes. And let's be glad that we were able to help. Okay then, we'll just head back to whatever that mine-laying simulation in the whatever channel. See you later, everyone. One by one, they all vanished from the room, and then there were none, leaving the virtual room wrapped in silence, except for the sounds of baths. You know, it really is weird, this era. Just a little. Ah, you're wondering about how I look? It was getting confusing, so I sorta had made this to match my tastes. Think it looks good on me? Well, I really couldn't care less what you think. All that matters is whether I like it or not. Still, this really is a strange era. After all, you're all soldiers, right? Isn't it your job to defeat your opponents in war? Even if you try to cover it up with all this talk of supporting the walls of peace together and being servants of international peace, defeating enemy soldiers is a soldier's job. They probably all believe that even if war does break out, they'll be able to handle it neatly and beautifully thanks to its sportsmanship. However, the cost of that foolishness will soon be paid at a higher price than you've ever imagined. There's no way that'll happen. We're all friends. We swore that to each other. Even if a conflict erupts, we definitely won't kill each other. You act like this nonsense is a prediction, but none of it will ever happen. This is probably a misunderstanding peculiar to Japanese. Okay, Yogen and Yogen are both pronounced Yogen, but their meaning is entirely different. Do you know what the difference is? I don't want to talk to you. Disappear, disappear. Well, I don't really care whether you ask or not. I'm talking because I want to. So the difference between Yogen and Yogen. Yogen means what you think it does. It means it's making a prediction about the future and telling someone about it. That prediction might be right or it might not, but Yogen is different. Yogen means prophecy, receiving words from God. God is omnipotent and also knows everything about the future. So the words of God are a promise about the future. When you receive those words from God and speak them, it becomes Yogen, a prophecy. My words are a prophecy. They're an announcement about a promised future. It doesn't matter whether you believe me or not. No matter what happens, everything will turn out the way I said. Right now, the world is still moving slowly. It may not look like the sort of environment a war could break out in, but behind the stage, where you innocently play at being friends, the world is slowly preparing to become a place where people hate each other. Who would do something like that? Do you know about the Three Kings? They're the old people who claim to be the guides of humanity across the globe. Their ultimate goal is to get the whole world to fight at once and then destroy everything by their own hands. For that reason, those old people have already made extensive preparations, and very soon it will become real. And when that happens, all this pretending to be friends for the sake of international peace will be over. All those people who looked like they were giving advice about romance or something just now will be torn apart from each other in a bloody fight to the death. They'll experience anger and sadness, countless negative emotions, and pathetically kill each other. We won't. We definitely won't. We will never kill each other. How the hell could we? Very soon, hell will come to this earth. I'll never believe in a hell like that. I'll prevent it. I'll put a stop to it. I'll avoid it. No matter what, I'll definitely avoid that fate. That hell. Listen, my adorable Meow. Your highest priority goal is to stop this hell before it happens, using any means necessary. The only way to succeed in that is to kill them. You must find them and kill them. You may do whatever is necessary to accomplish that. No matter whom you have to kill or what you have to break, there's no need to hold back. Kill them. That's the only way to avoid that hell. Kill the three kings? Kill them. When love is on our side, age and height are no barrier. Neither nationality nor race can stand between a couple. Even religion and gender can't tear apart two people who love each other. We'll support any kind of love. We're the ultimate cheerleaders for all couples in love. Yaladot Shavit. Bringing the heat. We are here. So where are they? Where are the AOU pretty boys who awakened to love between men? Now that we're here to support you, have no fear. Our 550mm torpedoes will burst through all barriers to love. Searching for target. Oh, forget the target. There isn't anyone here at all. We never stand idle in a place lacking love. We're the Comet Girls, Yaladot Shavit. Resuming search for love. Yaladot Shavit, bringing the heat. Leah, Fatma, and Stefania have left the room. The number of participants in virtual room It's a Wrap public bath is now 0. Entering sleep mode. Ha ha ha. They're all going to die. If you want to avoid this hell, you have to kill. Kill them. Or, if that's impossible, yourself. Hey, what's wrong, Meowtown? Is that all? Gonna go to bed like a little girl? Shut up. I'm a man. The two of them were in the training room, ring-punching each other while wearing gloves and headgear. Apparently, they'd been at it for a while. Both of them were covered in sweat. I see. Like Stan said, the best way for boys to restore their friendship is a good dash of fatigue and the release of their fighting instincts. Don't underestimate me just because I'm short. You asshole. You asshole. Damn it, my gloves are too heavy. Isn't this too much of a handicap? If you start losing, are you gonna blame your gloves? Even your excuses are super genius class. Damn it, this tiny brat's so full of himself. Okay, I really will punch you. Beat the crap out of you. Stop it, Jaden. Huh? Yeah? Gotcha! Bang. A cross counter. Or, it would have been if Meow's arm were a bit longer. Jaden's left straight had beautifully lined up on Meow's face, but as usual, Meow's right straight hadn't been long enough to reach. With a thunk, Meow fell, spread eagle to the ground. Damn it. Get me a saw. A chainsaw. I'm cutting this right arm off. I'll turn it into a rocket fist. I'm not gonna fall for that, Meow. I've already memorized the difference between how you and Meow talk. Oh, really? I'm so happy for you. If you're that worried about your flimsy body, I'll train you like they do in the Navy. Don't start crying, okay? And if Meow starts crying from the muscle pain, how are you gonna take responsibility? I'll gently massage it until she gets better. But I won't do it for you, Meow. You can go rub indomethacane lotion on it all by your lonely self. Damn it. I'll train like hell. I'll definitely protect Meow from beasts like you. Jaden's your partner, isn't he? How dare you call him a beast? There's no point treating this kind of dumbass like a human. How can you say that much? How can you say that about a partner who's done so much for you? Stupid big brother, you dummy. Ah, ow, don't pinch me. Ow, ow, ow. Jaden, keep training big brother, okay? The truth is, he's feeling a bit relieved right now, and he's grateful. Sure, leave it to me. I dedicate this victory to you, Meow. Anytime I've ever seen someone say, I dedicate this to you, that motherfucker always loses. Or at the very least, has an increased chance of defeat. Okay? I don't think in my life I've ever seen anyone say, I dedicate this to you, and have it go well. In a combat version, okay? I used to do martial arts when I was younger. Never! I've never seen it go out. Maybe it happens. but not when I'm around. Thanks. That's Japan for you. I never thought I'd see a romantic comedy comic strip from the 20th century play out in real life. I'm jealous. Hey, Senhor. Tojiro. How have you been? Well, you're enthusiastic, as I'd expect from a Latin American country. Someone might think we've been close friends for a decade. I didn't think I'd ever see you again, alive. This was Lato, Brazil. In the A3W world, anyone picturing a resort would think of Latin America. Latin America had managed to preserve the most beautiful of environments and air quality, as well as gorgeous vistas, making it a vacation destination for VIPs across the world. It would be no exaggeration to say that spending the rest of one's life in a high-class Latin American resort was the ultimate goal of many. The countries on the South American continent, which was the only one that had spirit fields of high-purity rare spiritium, were considered the most prosperous in the world. They were paradise nations, a fifth faction, which managed to maintain favorable relationship with all factions in a world where the other four factions were always quarreling. At a glance, it was hard to imagine what connection there might have been between Tojiro, who was well dressed despite his head and pulling a wheeled bag behind him, and the man who looked like he lived every day to the fullest in casual clothes. The pair entered the lobby of the high-class hotel, where the cherry man was, staying and relaxed on an expensive sofa. Tojiro, you should quit your business too and come over to Lato. It's great here, just heavenly. Sadly, I don't have the kind of vast wealth you need to apply for immigration to Lato. Just go make friends with the big-breasted, big-assed girls on the beach over there. If you marry into their family, they'll get you your citizenship. All Lato girls dream of falling in love with foreign billionaires. That explains all those strangely appraising looks I get on the beach. They've got good eyes. One look at the material of my clothes, and they knew I wasn't rich enough to be worth talking to. You really are a hoot, Tojiro. The hotel bar was filled with relaxed Latin music that would satisfy the heart of any hard-boiled man. After the two men brought their glasses together, they silently enjoyed the atmosphere and their drinks for a while. In an era where you could say things with your brain, it was customary to refrain from speaking anything but your orders in places where silence was treasured. So each of the guests experienced the place in their own eyes, and they were able to enjoy the conversation without interfering with anyone. So, were you able to play that musical score? That was one hell of a score you found. I doubt there are even 5 people in the world who could perform that. Then I'm glad one of those 5 people owes me a favor. After all, a score is just a piece of paper if no one can perform it. You've received 13 data items. Still, where on earth did you find this? These are 8MS blueprints. Each one was an environmental 8MS blueprint maintained by nationally supported businesses from various countries. Now showing a preview of 13 items. So it seems, only a few organizations manage 8MS blueprints, and they are all supposed to be government-supported and tightly controlled by their countries. How did you get these? Who knows? It's a business secret. 8MS, also called AMOS. Its official name was the 8 Million System. It was a system environmental nanomachines developed by the Yaoyozuru nanotech firm in B3W, Japan. The 8MS had self-replicated repeatedly, eventually filling the atmosphere all over the planet. This groundbreaking system was capable of doing all sorts of things when instructed. It was almost like an OS that itself had been installed into the environment itself. It uses included communication, obviously, but also purification of the air and water, reduction of ultraviolet rays, medical applications, and eventually military applications as well. Its initial development had proceeded quickly, but scientists fearful of gray goo had kicked off a worldwide anti-nanomachine campaign, so it was kept from the light of day for a long time. However, when World War III ended, the world was faced with the prospect of imminent extinction. A nuclear winter had begun, starting the countdown to the world's end. While the political debate over its use was still ongoing, the 8MS had been distributed across the whole world, and it began purifying the atmosphere. As a result, the globe did not freeze over. The countless gods known as 8MS filled the air, raising the curtain on a new world. Just as oxygen and nitrogen had existed in the atmosphere, so too did 8MS now exist. Of course, it existed in all regions of the world, but it also existed as high as the stratosphere and as low as the bottom of the ocean. And naturally, it was inside the human body as well. Some had worried that knowledge of strange nanomachine fillings everything from the atmosphere to people's bodies would trigger humanity's nanomachine allergy once again. All A3W governments hid this fact, but some scientists eventually made it public. The masses, knowing that nanomachines had been put into their bodies without their knowledge, and fearing that some sort of accident or malicious act might lead to tragedy, flew into a panic. For several decades, it was used as a magic word by certain kinds of paranoids, conspiracy theorists, and newscasters, one that was used to explain all sorts of unpleasant, unknown things. However, 100 years had passed since then without anything major happening. The generation afflicted by nanomachine allergies became and went. Nanomachines infected the entire planet, and the phobia of grey goo turning everything else into nanomachines was now viewed as a joke. It was just like in the 20th century, when some people thought that letting off an H-bomb would cause a chain reaction with all the hydrogen on the planet and destroy the world. The opinion was also viewed as a complete joke later on. Now, no one thought much of the fact that countless nanomachines drifted throughout their atmosphere and their bodies. Nanomachines aside, humanity had always coexisted with all sorts of bacteria and viruses. And so, a murderous 8MS was simply added to the list of things that evil terrorists might develop in a spy novel, alongside nukes and killer viruses. Of course, it isn't actually that simple. In the first place, developing 8MS requires cutting-edge research facilities and human resources, as well as a massive budget. Only the major countries from each faction are capable of that, and it managed by the IPMA, and all countries observe each other's work. You couldn't possibly develop a malicious 8MS. Well, that's true enough. Still, if that's the case, what on earth was he thinking? The guy who got his hands on this heavily compressed file. Maybe he's a super hacker who somehow thought he could sell it for money. So he's both a super genius who can get into the super secure 8MS management servers, and a total moron who actually thinks he can make a profit off of it. Several 8MS blueprints were shared between 8MS research facilities across all the world's factions under the management of the IPMA. So pre-existing 8MS blueprints here were something all factions already had. Even if this hacker had retrieved it, so some terrorists could start developing a malicious 8MS, they wouldn't be able to get their hands on the facilities or human resources necessary for such development, making the whole thing pointless. Though the blueprints were managed quite carefully, they weren't worth any money. It was like stealing a semiconductor techniques that had already been patented. Those were already public knowledge in the semiconductor industry, and even if someone outside the industry found blueprints for those techniques, they wouldn't do them any good at home or at a dinner table. I wonder what the guy who stole this was thinking. Well, this is just a theory of mine, but one of the blueprints is called Artemis, a water purification 8MS. That was a registered trademark of the ACR South Africa States managed 8MS program. There's also Sistema Curar Palpal 1.02 and Ansijam. Those are air purification 8MS from Lato, Argentina, Co, Singapore, and Co, Saudi Arabia. There was a lot more, but they were all 8MS blueprints related to atmospheric improvement. In other words, some mysterious terrorist wants to make advantage of that to create some kind of environment-destroying 8MS. And then they'll use that to launch a massive attack on the world's food-producing regions, triggering a world panic. Nice. 4 Sith would have loved this stuff. Water and air are essential to human life. If we lose those, we're screwed. I'll bet. The terrorists are jealous of Lato's beautiful paradise and are planning to destroy it. But you're still talking about a dream, right? Every lab on Earth is under close observation. There doesn't exist an institution anywhere that could develop something like an environment-destroying 8MS. Maybe. But you know what, Tojiro? Even if it was impossible for every lab on Earth, a secret lab beneath the Earth might be a different story, right? Huh? What are you talking about? My Kizna translates your Portuguese weird sometimes. I'm so sorry, Tojiro. Looks like my next appointment has arrived. Mind if I include the bill from here as part of my fee? That explains why you're going for the expensive stuff. Obrigado. Hasta luego. The cherry man left the bar with the same cheeriness he'd had when he'd first appeared. Now that the energetic man was gone, Tojiro was finally able to slowly soak in the bar's atmosphere. Then the scent of passionate perfumes hit his nose. An attractive Brazilian woman had sat down in the seat vacated by the cheery man. Tojiro raised his glass and winked at her. "Hi there, young lady. Would you care for a drink?" "Gladly. Now, what shall I have?" "How about a milkshake?" As laid back as Lotto is, it's probably not a good idea to drink alcohol on the job. By this point, she wasn't alone. Several MPs from the Lotto military were here with her too. "Welcome to Lotto Brazil, senhor. If you had told us you were coming, we could have given you a proper welcome." "Well, now that I know there's a beauty like you here to welcome me, I'll do that next time. His Excellency has said he wishes to invite you to dinner. Will you come with us? Works for me. If you will be joining us in an evening dress, that is." "Senhor says he'll gladly come with us. Sergeant, take his baggage and see if any of his luggage has arrived at the room he was supposed to be spending the night in." Nice, just what I'd expect from a resort country. The service here is great. Tojiro set his empty glass on the counter and calmly stood up. The MPs walked right next to him on either side. Kikonya when they cry. To fulfill our master's orders, we shall not hesitate to use the methods of demons, nor to stain our hands with demonic acts. Oath of the Order of Prometheus. Doomsday clock moves ever forward. Former Prime Minister Zaidan of ACR Libya was reported to have died of an illness last week, but according to a recent leak, he actually died due to a gunshot wound. This has led to a massive uproar in that country. Our former Prime Minister, a leader of peace and democracy, was killed by the ACR royal family. Africa must not fall back into a dark age. We request humanitarian military support from the ABN military to protect the people of Africa. ACR Royal Family Press Secretary Rafini said this measure was taken because making any announcement before the investigation concluded might have led to panic, in effect confirming the leak. This crime was committed by secret agents of the ABN Guidance Department, which has always challenged the harmony of the African continent. A male and female member of the ABN involved with this assassination have already been arrested, and we have asked that the International Criminal Police Department issue an official notice regarding 4 other participants. The ABN Department of Friendship, their equivalent to a Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has expressed their deep regret at these comments and just now, ABN Pakistan's mining machines all started operating at once. The suspension of the Kashmir Spirit field dispute, which both the ABN and COU supposedly agreed to, is now over. Ever since the disputed Kashmir region was found to contain a large-scale spirit field, the ABN and the COU have each publicly encouraged the other to show self-restraint, while simultaneously claiming that they themselves ought to possess the Kashmir region. The issue has been suspended for quite some time, but it seems that the moment has finally come for them to clash openly. The foreign ministers of COU China and COU India have both released statements. They are harshly criticizing the ABN, saying that their breach of the agreement by resuming mining operations will not be tolerated, and that they must bear responsibility for whatever happens next. World news has suddenly gotten so exciting. Is the information overload making your old people lose your mind? It will count as information. This was news, but this isn't news to us. After all, when they announce the news, they're just reading our manuscript aloud for us. Precisely. All is in the name of guiding humanity down the right path.
However, the Kashmir region isn't the only spirit field problem the COU has. There's also the Glass Sea of Japan. The vast glass sea that separates COU Japan and AOU Japan has been maintained by both countries as a symbol of peace and as war relic. They have attempted to use it as an opportunity to build harmony, at least until recently. Well, I suppose it's natural for rare spiritium to become a source of disputes. Who could have predicted that a spirit field of rare spiritium would be found in the earth below the glass sea? AOU Japan did a soil analysis first, discovering that a vast spirit field existed here. But they concealed that information and effectively prevented a soil analysis by COU Japan. AOU Japan says their announcement was merely delayed, and that they hadn't intended to conceal anything. But COU strongly suspects that they were trying to keep the spirit fields all for themselves. COU Japan claims that the Glass Sea was divided in half, so the western half belongs to them, and the AOU Japan claims that the Glass Sea is the neutral zone, managed by both countries. COU Japan has suggested that they might station border guards in that area, so it seems unlikely that the Glass Sea of Japan will escape becoming another disputed territory.
Your Excellency, we received a report from our COU Japanese comrades that a stationing of border guards will take place in 48 hours. Everything is proceeding smoothly. Even though they lost almost all their pieces in the big war, they've managed to scrape together this much in just over a century. I must admit, I'm impressed. We also have reports that their pawns hidden in countries around the world have all started taking action at once. Are you sure we shouldn't make our move?
Nah, it'll be fine.
It's half or so of the world grids destroyed. That's probably just what humanity needs about now. Civilization is a unicycle that humanity constantly is riding. If they stop, they fall. So they have to keep on moving. The only problem is that civilization has an end. And when they reach that end, they will definitely come. It'll be a festival, a harvest festa. Everything will be reaped without even a single husk left behind. It'll all be pulled up by the roots. Compared to that, World War IV will be far more humane. If you just rewind the world civilization a little, the end of civilization will be that much farther away. And weapons of mass destruction have already been eradicated. See? Nothing to worry about at all.
We have new information about the Atlantis Spirit Veil issue in the Atlantic. The AOU American government has made a statement that the ACR, which currently has a unilateral military presence in that area, must withdraw the warship Atlantis of the ACR Combined Navy from the Spirit Field within 2 weeks. If they do not, the AOU American Navy will dispatch their Atlantic fleet to that location. They demanded that the ACR withdraw a single ship. It's classified as a warship, but the Atlantis is a superior fortress class segmented warship, an ocean fortress made of 7 massive linked warships. It's also a symbol of their occupation of the Atlantis Spirit Veil, so it's hard to imagine the ACR going along with this. Another news item just in. ACR royal family, referencing 12 murders including the former Prime Minister Zaydan, has demanded the return of Supreme Chancellor Bellomi of the Liberal Democratic Party African Liberation Front, who is currently receiving political asylum in COU Madagascar. It is unlikely that the COU will respond to this demand, and many think this will further complicate the Mozambique Channel issue, which concerns the heating up of travel restrictions through the area near the Lumerian Spirit Field. And now for our next item. Just now, despite repeated requests from the ABN Oracle Department to desist, the 7-state alliance in western ABN Ukraine has started holding a national referendum on whether to seek admission into AOU Russia. The AOU Russian military is concentrated on the border, and is hinting that they might enter as part of a humanitarian operation to protect citizens of Russia to send if the worst were to happen. Of course, the ABN Peace Department has objected vehemently to this. It's suspected that behind the scenes, complicated religious issues that have been forcefully silenced are at play here. This powdered keg may have been lit last month with several VIPs of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church were arrested. Meanwhile, on the internet, theories that all these international tensions are being fueled by a Lato international conspiracy have been gaining steam. It's a conspiracy by the countries of Lato, trying to get the other 4 factions to take each other out. The 4 factions must maintain their self-restraint and calmly deal with these issues. Now is the time for peace and coexistence. These anti-pacifist Lato must be annihilated. Lado must stop monopolizing rare spiritium fields and share them with the whole world. Well, Lado, the world's greatest supplier of rare spiritium, is periodically set up as the villain of international conspiracies. In particular, all major countries who look down on nations affiliated with Lado in the B3W area are rumored to be unsatisfied with Lado's international leadership in A3W society, even to the point of jealousy. It seems the military tension springing up across the world will affect all factions, even Lado.
This has been quite a day. It's just one bit of unsettling news after another. As if you didn't know about all these things beforehand, Your Excellency. In the highest class private room of a resort hotel, an old, pudgy military official and Tojiro were sharing a meal. There are MPs in the four corners of the room, all staring at Tojiro. Humans are despicable creatures after all. The feeling of superiority we get simply from knowing things a bit sooner than the general public makes a good drink that much more delicious. If we keep this up and dash straight into World War IV, that ought to sober them up. No one wants that. This moderate sort of tension sometimes builds during peacetime, but whenever it does, this beautifully make up and give the world news a good story with a nice morale. Everyone wants a scenario like that to play out. And that's what will happen this time too. After all, unless you give humans some tension every now and then, they start to forget how precious peace is. They also forget how grateful they are to the people who protected that peace. Exactly. After all, this spurt of international tension will make for an excellent chance to show the true purpose of militaries and related institutions, whose job has become nothing more than earning medals in battle-stand and festivals under the noble guise of being servants of peace. Humans are foolish creatures who respect proactive occupations, but show absolutely no respect for reactive ones. Though militaries were hailed as guardians supporting the walls of peace, their budget had started to decline everywhere in recent years. After all, national borders had been maintained thanks to healthy military balance, and they were now wonderfully stable. Not only that, but once the newest type of weapon, the gauntlet, was made, ready for practical use, a few thousand suitable youths would be able to replace millions of soldiers. In the end, militaries around the world would probably be dismantled. This development was hardly amusing for old men with vested interest in the military's upper echelons, as well as high-ranking men in active service who wanted their spots. If only we had an upswindling of military tensions giving me a chance to shine. A lot of military men were thinking that way. It's just like how there has never been an exterminator who wants all bugs to go extinct. However, there were quite a few old men who didn't care about the future, who were more interested in how much easy money they could make now. By the time all militaries were dissolved, they would be long retired. Why should they care what happens after that? To them, these global military tensions, which were building after such a long time, would be their last festival, and a last chance to rake in the dough. The military official rose to his feet and gazed through the window at a well-lit pool under the night sky. Tojiro, I hear you're a fairly well-known broker in this area. One of my friends in the Department of Defense says he's made a killing thanks to you. Oh. I wonder who that friend might be. When doing business with me, being loose-lipped is against the rules. No. His lips were indeed tightly sealed, and I can guarantee you that he'll never speak of you again as long as he lives. Have no fear, Tojiro. I see. So that's why he never responds when I ask him to go out for a drink. I'm not a small fry like him. Oh shit. They killed him. I have power. I have no shortage of strong cards to play. And with those cards, I can help you earn more. Would you mind showing me those cards? I've never shown my cards to anyone who hasn't brought me a sack of money. But you're different, Tojiro. Very well. As an apology for inviting you here so abruptly, I'll show you. The military official signaled to an MP with his chin. You've got mail. It's got an attached file, Poyo. An email had been sent to Tojiro's cellcom. He quickly checked the attached file. It was a record of top-secret meeting at the IPMA, the International Peace Mediation Association. It showed that they had decided to take a wait-and-see approach, practically Technically speaking, regarding the feuds that had popped up simultaneously all over the world. The digital signature was good. This was real. And it wasn't exactly surprising. Considering this man's position and connections, it shouldn't have been impossible for him to get his hands on this. This card's not bad, Your Excellency. These files were surely precious things capable of predicting the future state of the world. The cards I have are really nothing special. I hear you have some very nice cards yourself, and that you have all sorts of all over the globe. Compared to your cards, mine are little more than a parking pass. Tojiro, I want to be your new friend. Or are you thinking that I wouldn't be useful to your business? A plump military official held out his big greasy hand for a handshake. Tojiro, chuckling, grasped the man's hand. You wouldn't notice unless you looked closely, but this was a slightly unique handshake with a peculiar arrangement of fingers. I'm glad to have formed an amicable relationship with you. Now that you've joined forces with me, I promise to make sure you can rake in the dough. And I promise to earn you even more. Or rather, if I didn't, I'd get the feeling I'd be footing the bill for my stay here. Hey, Tojiro, as your new friend, and since we're exchanging business cards, could I ask you to reveal just one tiny card of yours? The military official suddenly smirked impishly. It was a sort of unpleasant familiarity often used by people who don't really want to be called friends. In that case, to celebrate my new friendship with you, Your Excellency, here's my card. Do you have stock in any environmental AMS-related companies? Of course. Stock in AMS companies is like a goose that always lays safe golden eggs. You may want to sell it off bit by bit. Why? Well, now that would be a different card, Your Excellency. You aren't testing me, are you? Not at all. If you really do trust me, then you better do as I say. If environmental AMS were to run into some kind of trouble, the whole world would go back to its nanomachine allergy of century past. When that happens, it will already be too late. I understand, Tojiro. I'll take this friend's warning to heart. First Lieutenant Valentina. I'm right here. Tojiro's my friend. Tell the Public Safety Office that they may remove their mark on him. You may leave. As you wish, Your Excellency. Valentina saluted and left the room. As she walked towards the hall, her Kizna told her that a friend had sent her a message. You've received a message from a friend, Mari Carmen. Did you see the news? It looks like all crazy things are happening all over the world. I even got a notification saying that I might get caught up in some kind of conspiracy, so I needed to be extra careful of anything suspicious. Seriously, what'll I do if war really does break out? I only became a gauntlet at night because I wanted to fly. I don't want a war. Seriously. Opening text editor. Don't be silly. Of course there won't be a war. No one wants war. They're all just amusing themselves with a situation that smells like war. It's just like how you'd enjoy being scared of ghosts every year during Halloween. Message sent to Mari Carmen. You became a soldier because you wanted to fly? Monsters all over the world are wriggling in the darkness trying to start a greed-filled carnival. Only those who predicted the wave and managed to move first will survive and get rich. You became a soldier because you wanted to fly. Fool. That cheap resolve is going to cost you. A friend has arrived. Jaden, thanks for waiting. Sorry I'm late. I don't mind that. Not at all. Of course, that was a lie. Was it really today? Was this really the right time? Was this really the right place? He had checked the mail threads with his mental tablets way too many times, so much that he'd been asked, do you want to set this as your default wallpaper, Poyo? Damn. She didn't cancel at the last minute. How can you be so rude, Abdo? Also, you owe me one credit. A late woman is the one for you. A late man must commit seppuku. Fuck. Arriving first and waiting is what makes a man a man. In the virtual room inside Jaden's head, all his male friends from the public bath were giving him support. After all, because super genius Jaden's parallel processing ability had been recognized at a young age, he had grown up in a special institution. Forget the baptism of American boys, known as the prom. He hadn't had any existing contact with the opposite sex at all. Shit. Wait, doesn't he hang out with Gunhild, Chloe, Koshka, and Lilja?
Even if not all the time, at least he hangs out with Gung Healed. He did have a naturally cheery personality, and he knew from sitcoms how attractive guys were supposed to act, but this was his first time putting that into... This is not good advice. Ladies and gentlemen watching this video right now, do not act like a sitcom hot guy if you want to get bitches, okay? Don't do it. It's not gonna work. A closely fought battle had taken place between the pressure of making sure his first date had a good time and his pride and embarrassment at the thought of having to ask his friends for help. Eventually, the former won out, and he had gathered his friends in a virtual room so they could offer him support during his date. Hey boy, shouldn't you start by complimenting the girl who got all dressed up for this day? Alright. Clothes look really cute today. Okay, so just so you guys know, after this moment, I literally don't know what happened to the story. This is the last thing I read. So I know how this date goes, and then I'm going to be completely blind from here on out. Thanks. But I overdid a bit, and it looks like my shoes don't really fit me. True, but we got this nice little collar here. You'd fit right in with Neptunia characters. Oh wait, didn't Higurashi show up in Neptunia? Yeah, she did. They're adorable girlish shoes. You might have Meow's body, but you look so cute when you're Meow. Minus of 5 points. When dealing with a CVP, it's safe to avoid comparing them to the other personalities. Crap. I picked them because they're cute, but there's no point if it's hard to walk in them. And on the big day of our date, too. I'm stuck already. How am I supposed to respond to that? I'd say don't worry about it being hard to walk, just hold my hand and we'll take it slow. I'd show respect for the fact that she chose shoes she wasn't used to. Thanks for picking the cutest shoes for my sake. Well, I'd go with let's stop by the drugstore and buy some foot protection tape so your precious feet don't get hurt. These guys all suck! All of them! If you're going that route, for the sake of your lovely feet, my princess, I would gladly become your clogs myself. Fuck you! The only person who had any decent response was this dude. Everyone else, sorry dude, you lost it, man. How about your Tsun with a... That's what happens when you wear shoes you aren't supposed to, stupid. You aren't used to stupid. And then Dara with a speak out if you get tired, okay? Nah, that's fucked. Don't do any of this. These guys are all terrible advice, okay? Don't listen to this. I'll carry you. Oh no, it looks like Jaden got confused and froze. Maybe he really just wanted to go out and have fun, and now he's creeped out because I suddenly called it a date. Get a hold of yourself. A date is a battlefield. Fuck off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, never take advice from other people without a date. Okay, just be yourself. Okay, be the best version of yourself. Okay, try to be, you know, as cool as you can, but don't force it. If you force it, they can tell you're forcing it. And in that moment, they will leave or call someone to get them out. Sorry. But the truth is, I am Iron Man. If you let your guard down, some other girl will snatch him from you. Jaden's pretty cool after all. Even I was thinking about taking a shot at him. I'm not sure about the cool part, but I've learned from this that he is surprisingly cute. Still, I don't understand. Why did you go out of your way to get Meow's shoes that were hard to walk in? You just don't get it. If you totter around in awkward shoes, the boy might lend you his shoulder. It shows off your mentality of pure and innocent love since you choose the shoes for him, even though it would be difficult to walk for him. It's a splendid romantic strategy. Jaden's hesitation is proof that he's just as nervous as she is. Just enjoy this feeling of awkwardness and innocence. Just enjoy it? That doesn't help at all. Like Jaden, Meow had also invited the girls of the public bath into her mind, asking them for support. But you know what they say about having too many cooks in the kitchen. In the end, the support didn't help either of them at all and only ended up confusing them. If it's hard to walk, I'll just walk at the same pace. Just let me know. Also, thanks for choosing cute shoes for my sake. Now let's stop by a drugstore. I'm here. Wait, I take that back. That didn't happen. Huh? Now, when a man steps up, you must giggle and soften the mood. Now's your chance to pretend to trip and lean on his shoulder. Meow took all the advice she was given, pretending to trip while giggling and clinging to his shoulder, as well as
poking his nose and saying we'd better go to the hospital and get you some help, silly, an incredible combo move. This doesn't work. Okay, these are supposed to be adults, right? I can understand this in like a high school romantic drama, right? You know, 100% fictional. This shit doesn't work. I don't look to when they cry for a lot of things, but I expect competence, okay? After the awesome writing that was Higurashi Minako, I expect better from you, Ryukishi. This isn't bad, mind you. This is still really good, but I expect better. What does that mean? What should I do? Jaiden's getting creeped out again. What should I do? I never should have gone on a date. It seemed it would take quite some time before either realized that getting live advice during a date was a bad idea. Oh dear gosh, they just destroyed the plot of Data Life. Jaden had been the one who asked her out. Meow was the kind of personality that hid in Meow's shadow most of the time, so there weren't many chances to talk to her directly. One night when Meow was sleeping, he had a message Meow, and while they were engrossed in their conversation, he had strengthened his resolve, deciding that if he didn't ask her out. Now, it might be a long chance before they got on a jet. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Hold the phone, let me reread that. One night, when Meow was sleeping, he had messaged Meow, and while they were engrossed in their conversation, he had strengthened his resolve and decided that if he didn't ask her out, now, it might be a long time before he got another chance. He had stepped up to a man's challenge and miraculously set up today's date. The location he had chosen was Neo Akihabara in the center of Tokyo. Of course, he got his name from Akihabara, which was once hailed as the sacred land of otaku culture. It was still a sacred land for subcultures, and in this era, the definition was now broader. In addition to anime, manga, and games, it was packed with all sorts of ridiculous things, including artists, performers, underground idols, a precision circuit board shop, a carnivorous plant shop, the World Space Marketplace, the official chess boxing shop, an underwater combat gym, a World Furry Convention. Hold on. Did I read that correctly? Give me a second. Actual dialogue from Kikonia. The official chess boxing shop, an underwater combat gym, the World Furry Convention. Furry Convention! Furry Convention! Monster parties, the hairy man co-sleep. I don't get it. This future sucks, by the way. Honestly, I understand the old people now. The old people had it right. This should lessen the electronics, okay? If this is what it leads to, I'd rather it not be here. Slug Racing Tokyo 1 Yan Cup. Stop by now and get 200 sacred gems and so on. It was a bustling city, always filled with enthusiasm of youths who wanted to make their dreams a reality. By the way, the original Akihabara had been swallowed up by a fancy fashion skyscrapers and was now a high-class city lined with expensive brand stores on par with Ginza. These days, saying someone was Akiba style basically meant they looked like a celebrity. Oh, your boyfriend's Akiba style. Wow. No, not that Akiba style. He's Neo Akiba style. That's become a classic gag in this era. At first, Jaden had thought about using a more standard route, going to the stylish place that you'd expect girls to like. However, according to the advice of his friends, dates turn out better if you go somewhere both of you can enjoy it rather than catering to what one person wants. The point of a date is that both of you enjoy it, right? If you're just trying to entertain her, that makes you a tour guide, not her lover. But even so, how could you choose Neo Akihabara? Shouldn't it be a more grown-up city? Grown-up cities are built to entertain grown-ups. These two are kids. Kids should be kids and play where they don't have to strain themselves. In my experience, women who want a grown-up date usually just want to show off by walking around with a hot guy. Hey now, this is no time to badmouth the princess. Holy shit! Achoo! That Jaden choosing such a childish city like this, it's so much more satisfying to go to a grown-up town where you can show everyone that you're a grown-up date you're having. After classifying their types to their available area of action, this city was optimal. Neo Akihabara is famous even in the COU. They say there are all sorts of strange things here. I would like to go if I had the chance. If you heard that, I'll bet a certain someone would say such a place is not suitable for one such as you, princess. Momotake is always strict on me. I suppose father told him to keep an eye out. But But I heard that Neo Akihabara is an immoral city filled with posters and billboards that expose women's skin. That's just too obscene. I'm starting to like Naima a little more, although she is on drugs. That's the old Akihabara. Neo Akihabara goes far beyond that, as a melting pot of all sorts of inexplicable cultures. Yeah, furry conventions. Come now, don't be shy, take a look. In Jaden and Meow's brains, their friends were definitely looking down on this from above, like sightseers. Jaden, do you come to cities like this a lot? Every once in a while. I've gotten involved with subcultures briefly a few times. It's not like I'm an otaku or anything. I knew someone as cool as you couldn't possibly be an otaku. Yeah, otaku are like so antisocial, right? You're right. It's just crazy to lock up yourself and play video games all the time. Why were they suddenly pretending to be normies? Both of them had forgotten they had met each other at a game center. In fact, Jaden loved video games, manga, and anime. And yet, he was one of the lucky few who looked like a normie on the outside. Fucking assholes! By the way, Meow loved video games, manga, and anime too. Most of the time, she couldn't leave the inside of Meow's head, so entertaining herself by fishing around the internet had become a hobby of hers. Just saying this, their friends concluded that they were doing something typical of innocent couples, going into bluff mode and trying to look hard to impress. After seeing this, their friends concluded that they were doing something typical of innocent couples, going into bluff mode and trying to look hard to look impressive. They poked fun at them a lot under the guise of giving advice, saying, be honest, don't lie to her and yourself. How could you possibly like someone who can't say what they like? Gradually, the pair of them both realized they were thinking the exact same thing and trying too hard in exactly the same way. Ah, sheesh. What's up with me today? This isn't how super genius Jaden is supposed to be. Sorry, Meow. I've just been lying my ass off trying to look cool. I love games and stuff. I love manga too. On my days off, I'm a freaking otaku who stays shut up in his room till from morning till night. They're like I knew nothing about the city, but that's not true at all. If anything, this is my home. The main game center we just passed, I go there all the time. I got a freaking platinum membership card. I know I said that screaming. I wonder what kind of person goes split. But here's obviously platinum, isn't it? Thank you for your time. Did you say that? Well, this is the first time I've come to this city, but I bought things from lots of these stores over the net. I want to know what Meow's room looks like. And as for me, I spend all my time shut up in my brain, and I love manga and anime. Fuck, manga games. But I didn't want to creep you out. The heck? So we've both just been trying to act cool? Haha, we're so uncool. Do you play games too, Meow? Which manga have you read? Stuff like One Piece, Slam Dunk, Dragon Ball. Oh, so you love the classics, huh? Oh, well, those when I start reading them on my days off, it suddenly gets dark outside before I realize it. At one point, the old internet's culture had brought manga and similar industries to the brink of destruction with illegal sharing and the like. However, thanks to various new A3W technologies, they were being protected again, and were on the rise once more. Partly because manga making techniques had temporarily gone extinct, classics from the A2W's golden age. Manga were coming into the limelight. So you mean to tell me that somehow, after World War III, manga became popular after World War II, so like I guess Sailor Moon exists in this continuity. It's popular, okay. I love Yu Yu Sama Hakushon and Haunted x Haunted. Hold on, I'm gonna set this to David. Okay, let's see how he reacts. This is so fucking stupid. JoJo's Bizarre Barbecue is great too. Okay, where did my snipping tool go? Here it is. One time, when my friends and I had a barbecue, I tried to do a JoJo grill, but screwed up and dropped the meat. I want to do a JoJo grill too. I want to do the one on the cover of Volume 32. We really are creepy, aren't we? Yeah, we are. But I think that's us that are almost honest, and the city suits it perfectly. The two of them finally became their real selves, relaxing and laughing together honestly. Jaden had said something unfortunate earlier, but he really was amazed at how impossible it was to think that this was the same body as Meow's. True, her outfit and makeup did make a difference, but can a person really look like this just by how they act? He couldn't help but be amazed by the fact that they were dealing with humans. What they are on the inside matters far more than how they appear. At the same time, he felt even more affection for Meow. Even though they were going out for the first time, Star had been complimenting him for so long, insisting complimenting him in the middle of Meow's lecture mode the whole time. And as his fondness increased, a certain question entered his head and wouldn't go away. However, he couldn't ask Meow directly. It would be hard to find the answer. And if he asked his friends, they might really get mad at him this time. No, but isn't this exactly the time you're supposed to rely on your adolescent friends? Are you guys still here? Pretty much. We thought it would be rude to intrude any further, so we were just planning to go our separate ways. If this question is inappropriate, please forget what I have to say and leave quietly. I don't even mind if you unfriend me. Hey, what's up? It's not like you're really serious. I don't know how anything about CVPs, so I'm keep misunderstanding things and hurting people. I really am sorry. I'm so ignorant. Okay, so we now know, guys, that Jaden here is a male feminist. I get all that, but there's still one thing I have to ask. There's no need to be so timid. Ask us whatever you want. We'll happily answer any questions you have. So is this about what to do in bed? No, it's not like I expect to come up on the first date. It's just, the thing I want to ask is sort of related to that. I want to make this clear. No, the simple fact that I care about something like this might already be rude to some people out here. But even I'm basically a healthy, average, absolutely normal guy, right? Isn't it obvious that I'd want to know? Well, Meow, rather, Meow. Which is he? Which sex? Can't you just check in the shower room after training? Ew, you sex. The AOU, out of consideration of various genders, was one of those anti-sexual discrimination nations. As a result, resident cards in countries allied with the AOUs indicated their citizens' numbers and names, but not their sexes. Information about one's sex was shared only when it became necessary at medical institutes, and even then it was shared only between the professor and the hospital, and the information would be instantly removed after a certain time had passed. For example, in addition to men's and women's public bathrooms, there were also restrooms either could use, just like women's restrooms. You know what, though? I think that would be a way to end the whole transgender bathroom debate. If we had a men's room, a women's room, and then a room that anyone can use. I'm thinking. I don't actually know if that would be the end, but it seems like a start. There were also restrooms that either could use, just like women's restroom, they had only stalls. However, you were allowed to use them regardless of your sex, so even gender minorities could use them without having to worry about whether they were a boy or girls. In short, even sex was a protected item of private information in the AOU Japan. Gala Knights, who were military officers, were given suitable lodgings for their positions. For that reason, even their showers were in fully equipped private rooms. So he had never even seen whether his partner's body was fucking hell. Of course, any sort of touching that would allow you to determine someone's sex was illegal. Throughout the AOU, regardless of perpetrator's age or gender. If Meow's build had been more dramatically one way or the other, it would be easy to tell, but really did have a great sort of build that could be either man or a woman's. And you know, I'm still a guy, right? If I find I like someone, I want to form a steady relationship with them. In the end, well, I like to go as far as you can go. That's not weird, is it? Isn't that healthy? Dang! Yeah, at the very end, we get carried away, and in that final instant, we're in sexually incompatible from a biological standpoint. What do I do? I think those three from Yellow Dot should could field that question best. Should I call them? No. I want to ask people here. At first, everyone felt like busting out, laughing, and poking fun at him, but they did understand how he felt. If I get lucky, half of those 50-50 odds, I'd say there's no room for debate, so go for it. The problem is either 50%. Yep. You didn't fall in love with her because you're after her body, right? So it doesn't... Okay. That whole you didn't fall in love with them because you're after their body? Look, biologically speaking, right? Like, what is the purpose of going into a relationship? On a biological level. Companionship, right? And that companionship can be used to do what? It's pass genes, correct? I think so. So to some extent, Jaden here, who supposedly calls himself a perfectly average, totally normal dude, I think he does kind of want MEOW's body. I don't think Jaden knows if MEOW has an X or a Y. Let's use that for the internet. This is an interesting take. And see, this is why I didn't want to commentate over the freaking Pokemon thing, okay? Look at how long I spent thinking for my next move. I had literally no move that I was good with. Okay? This genuinely pissed me off. This one was so hard. And then I still got it. That's right! It's Meow's hearts and her kindness I fell in love with. Even if her body isn't a girl, I'll accept her. You are a man. However, for your own mental health, you should probably resolve this issue quickly. If your heightened libido is unable to properly sublimate, you can expect to receive considerable mental damage. So if you are able to identify her sex somehow, what will you do if Meow's body is male, Jaden? Well, I'll do all I can to be best friends with her. What the hell am I doing? I just said I'm not after her body, but I'll be all let out of... Well, yeah, this seems to be normal behavior. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is alright. Am I just pervert? That's not how super just Jaden's supposed to act. I'm super uncool! Several of the most recent studies indicate about 10% of the population is homosexual. What study is that? Same-sex couples aren't particularly rare either. Apparently, women these days view same-sex couples as more pure love since your partner isn't just after your body. Well, love takes all kinds of forms. Either way, there aren't as many types of love as there are lovers. If this is true, you ought to follow through the end. You need not let the words of outsiders trouble you. In the end, that's what it comes down to. Do you like her or not? And if you do, how are you going to show each other that? In the end, that's for you two to decide, huh? The young pair of sexual troublers were very innocent, the kind of thing that can change completely depending on one's country, culture, or religion. Okay, so I've said this before, and I'll say this again. If you are under 18, get the hell out of this channel. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I assume this is all adults watching now. This is so entertaining. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This is fucking hilarious. This date is filled with some of the worst advice I've ever seen. Okay, they make the relationship from Kaguya-sama seem stable. Okay, they make that seem like a healthy relationship. Nah, you know what they make? They make Burn and Lambda's relationship look stable by comparison. However, Jaden and Meow were fortunately part of the same cultural sphere, and had similar values when it came to romance. On top of that, the AOU was accepting of all sorts of genders, and same-sex marriages were legal as well. In other words, you should decide freely by your own will as a pair who will love each other. That's the world you live in. So you should fully enjoy your love to the fullest. So what happens to Meow, though? Let's say they do it, right? And Meow wakes up with a pain in his bum. And he sees that Jaden's next to him. What the hell is he gonna do? Is M-I-Y-A-O gay? I think there are a bit more questions that need to be asked here. Now, normally I would go after the dissociative disorder first, but since this is being played off as being true, and I'm gonna assume Ryukshi's not lying to me on this one. If he is, then my first point stands. What is Meow gonna do? Really? Wasn't as though they were responsibly supporting a romantic couple with unknown genders. They said this with the understanding that the AOU acknowledged same-sex couples. The AOU claimed to have abolished discrimination against sexual minorities, but not all factions did this. If Jane and Meow had been in a different faction or cultural sphere, the other would probably have offered different advice. If Meow and... Hey, Jaden, how long are you gonna keep Meow waiting? Warrant from the AOU. Oh wait, no, they're parallel process. She's probably holding conversation with her the whole time. And the ABN homosexuality is accepted, at least on the surface. However, the Unified Religious Council keeps putting off making a decision about whether or not homosexuality is acceptable. Because of that, fundamentalists who like to call themselves devout still take an unsympathetic attitude. In the ACR, same-sex marriage is officially supported. Still, was it last year? It got out of that one of the princes was gay, and everyone freaked out. Pretty sure he gave up his place in the royal succession, and was forced to become a monk. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Gender minorities across the ACR started holding protests, right? It's not as though people across the world are free to do whatever they want, like in the AOU. We still don't know for sure if Meow the same sex as me, but the world does have all kinds of issues, does it? Do you remember that girl Ruki from my squad's partner? Rukshana. I remember her. She's the cute girl who came in waving with the... Dude, don't call someone a cute girl when you're on a date with someone you're supposed to... someone you supposedly think is a cute girl. Okay? In the culture of our country, it's considered immoral to have members of the opposite sex in the workplace. Wait, what? How do men and women work together? Similar to how men and women have different bathrooms and changing rooms, people in our culture think it's better to have workplaces that are also divided between boys and girls. What a modest culture. Because of that, when it came out that the squad had been assigned to had a man in him, it caused a big fuss in her home country. Political concerns in the COU upper echelons had partly responsible for the formation of this Kette. So they couldn't have Andri leave their A squad for Rushana's sake. And so the heads of the COU government had stepped in personally and mediated, and in the end the whole matter was settled by having the King Rushana country publicly announced that she had been given special permission. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm not trying to say one group is right or wrong here. I'm just pointing out that all regions have their own cultures which have been developed over long histories. They all have to respect one another. Fortunately, in this cultural sphere you and Meow live in, there shouldn't be any problems regarding what the sex actually is. That's all I'm saying. Still, there's one thing I want you to remember. In the AOU, whether same-sex marriage or whatever, the issue only concerns the two people involved. However, in another region, it could be completely different. In some situations, no matter how much you two decide to love each other, it wouldn't work out. Make sure you don't forget that, okay? In that sense, you were quite fortunate, Jade. There are all sorts of cultures and ways of thinking in this world. The AOU often calls itself an advanced nation when it comes to human rights. However, they might be quite an arrogant way of thinking about it. For example, same-sex marriages are allowed in the AOU, but marriage between close relatives is not. Not even gonna talk about this one, okay? I'm gonna get banned if I talk about this one. However, if there existed a country that didn't allow same-sex marriage but did allow marriage between close relatives, then the AOU would definitely be a backward nation in their eyes. But it isn't as though the creatures and laws of each and every place suddenly fall out of the sky one day engraved on stone tablets. These things have been brewed throughout the long histories of the people in these lands. It would be arrogant for an outsider to call some of them advanced and some backwards. So when some aspect of culture doesn't fit in with its era, it means that the people living in that cultural sphere to decide whether they should change it or not. Since even a single culture can also have so many divergent views, if this pair of lovers had actually been from different cultures, this issue would have surely have become even more complicated. It's even possible that it wouldn't work out, even if both lovers decided to go through with it. We'll talk it over alone and make our decision. We won't worry about what other people say. Those are the rules of this land, and I've decided to deepen my relationship with Meow. That's good. And as for overcoming the difference between American and Japanese culture, you should be able to find countless tips on the net from people who succeeded at it. There's something for me to figure out, and the answer's obvious. No matter what sex body is, I, Jaden, like Meow. However, if I know sex beforehand, I'll be able to control myself better in various ways, and I'm sure I'll be able to avoid hurting her. No, maybe it'll hurt her just to know that I'm thinking of this. Oh wait, I'm making a mistake here. It isn't something I have to figure out alone. It's something Meow and I have to figure out. If both of us really want to be together, I'm sure we'll naturally find the proper distance to keep while being ourselves. Isn't that obvious now, considering how much we've managed to relax around each other since we first arrived at Neo Akihabara? I guess you really want to know, right? What do you mean? About my biological sex? Jaden panicked, thinking that she'd see it right through him. Then again, Meow had probably been having mental conference with her female friends, just like Jaden. Yeah. I love you, Meow. Thank you. Dude, this is way too... Have they had enough of a conversation for this? Hold on. This shit's too fast. How old are these people? Okay, let me look it up. Maybe I'm misremembering. Mitake Meow age. How old are you, fucker? We get no confirmed age for this guy. We just know he's a man. What about Jaden? I don't need to know that Jaden Smith is 23 years. I typed Kikonia. People also ask, does Jaden Smith believe Wakanda's a real place? Thank you. Still, I didn't fall in love with you because you're a girl. It's because you're Meow. I'm not gonna force you to tell me. I see. Anyway, how can you be so sure I'm a guy? See how long my hair is? Dude! Shut up! Shut up! Maybe when I'm in my room I tie them into tuntles and wear miniskirt maid outfits, right? I think I like to say that. No, I wouldn't! Okay, maybe you do, but I don't. Degenerate. So don't worry about it. We don't even live in this time where Kikonia carry our babies to us. They said the thing! They said the thing! Worrying about biological sex is a concept of the past. Then how are there people here? You're saying that out of concern for me, aren't you? Thanks, Jaden. Still, I really do think it's unfair. What is? I mean, I'm being unfair to you, not you. What, seriously? Why? I started liking you knowing you're a wonderful man, but you started liking me without even knowing my sex. Is biological sex really important when two people like each other? Well, look, it depends on what they want. If they just want companionship and to be together, it doesn't really matter. But it starts to matter when things such as making a family start to exist. Sure, surrogacy exists and so does adoption. But it's not the same thing. I'm not saying one is inferior to the other, but I'm thinking about this on quite a literal level here. I'm not making this too deep. I'm just thinking to myself, there is an importance to it depending on what the people want. I think so. So Lingji over here, there is something. It just depends on what Jaden and Meow want. Well, I do believe Jaden has the right to seek sexual relations with the opposite gender in his dating life. Wow. What relations? Mike started croaking and I couldn't hear that part. Want me to show you how to take... She doesn't know her filters! I agree with Rethabile. If Jaden isn't going to be able to find what he's looking for, he has the right to spend all that effort on a different girl. Maybe it's the same kind of unfairness as a married person pretending to be single when talking to someone looking for marriage. What? For Jaden. No, for men, is it really so important that when they love be of the opposite sex? Again, it depends on what that person wants. Princess finding that fact to be strange or unsightly is a sign of ignorance about the opposite sex. You know what, Aisha? I'm kind of agreeing with you on this one. Have you heard about the book, What Men Think About Apart from Sex? What men think about apart from... Men must really love... Wow. What men think apart from sex. She still has her fucking filters on. Sounds interesting. Let's look it up. Now searching. Same results. This is a novel written by Sheridan Simove. Colloquially, it's also a phrase used to refer to a blank notebook, ironically implying that men don't think about anything other than sex. What is sexist? Wasn't there also a book called What Women Think About Apart from Money? Yes, there is, actually. Yeah, if you're worried about that and you really like him, wouldn't it be better to come clean and tell him? Certainly one option. To be honest, even we don't know your body's real sex. Similarly, though, we act like a woman. There's no way for anyone to know what our body sexes are. That's true, they just use avatars, right? There is nothing stopping any of these people from just getting a female avatar and pretending to be a girl, getting a voice changer, like Meowba or something. Our bodies are far apart, and we can only meet in kids' number rooms, so our sexes really don't matter. However, in your world, where your bodies can actually approach each other, I'm sure it matters a lot. I think that as long as the love is mutual, it can be shared between people regardless of sex, and even with inanimate objects, if you take it to an extreme. Wait, did Lindsay just argue that... Hold on, taking that argument to the fullest extent. Wouldn't that mean that in Linji's mind it's possible to fall in love with a vibrator or something? Probably. I don't dislike it though. I'm aware that this view is only shared by a tiny minority both in the COU and the world at large. I suppose gender really is important. If telling him the truth would make him give up on you, then that love wouldn't have lasted long anyways. If that's the case, you'd be better off making things clearer sooner rather than later. Does that mean your sex really is one that would make him give up on you? No, it's not like that. Thanks everyone for worrying so much about my sex. It's not as though I'm keeping quiet about my sex because my sex would make Jaden give up on me. That's my problem, our problem. Mia had personalities of two different genders in a single body, so a gender reveal would only have consequences for her. Bearing that in mind, this certainly wasn't an easy problem. Whether you decided to reveal it or not, the choice will also be part of your romantic interest. I didn't realize the agenda got this far in the future. Goddamn. And they both have love. There's no barrier they won't be able to cross. In the end, what Naima just said is the answer. No matter how much we barge in and try to offer advice, it isn't as important as the answer if Meow decides for herself. Meow, I think you should enjoy your love, including the part where you worry over this question. Jaden, I'll definitely tell you about my body someday. Don't worry about it. There's no need to force yourself. No, I want to tell you. I just need a bit more time to prepare myself mentally. I see. So, Christmas? Huh? Search results in Japan. Christmas is considered a major event for couples. That's true. But the way American roast turkeys for Christmas, but in Japan they eat fried chicken for some reason. Yes. Hey, we can still feel this way about each other on Christmas, I'll tell you then. Is that too long to wait? Not at all. I'll respect your feelings. But still thanks. Why? You probably decided to do that for my sake. Thanks for caring about me so much. I'll make sure I care for you just as much, Meow. So I'll make you a promise right now. Okay? I love you regardless of what sex you are. You're the best girlfriend and the best buddy a guy could have. Thanks, Jaden. Christmas wasn't that far off. Once autumn and winter came, he would be here. They passed in front of the home appliance modeling store. In the window, a TV toaster hybrid was showing them a news.
I'm standing in front of the IPMA headquarters in Lado, Brazil. Just now, their spokesperson commented on the conflicts breaking out simultaneously all across the globe, saying that because interventions made in any particular conflict might benefit or harm one faction or another, they would have to wait for the escalation to the situation to de-escalate before taking action. He made it clear that they don't intend to interfere with any of these conflicts at this time. In response to this, the AOU Joint Press Secretary said, Have you upgraded to the new version? Have you upgraded the new version of Kettle Boil? For a small fee, you'll be able to remove ads like this one, boy. You haven't done that yet, so it'll be 2 minutes 58 seconds of the ad ends. Now let's sing the Audi Frog's coming of age journey. Okay. To all video uploaders, this is as far as you can record and distribute videos, Poyo. We hope all of you watching enjoy the rest of your PCs, Poyo. Ah, you dick. Okay, that's fine. You know what? That's it for Kikonia. In the channel, save. What chapter am I? This is chapter 7, by the way. Okay. End. No, title. So that's it for Kikonia, then. Yes. What do I do, then? What do I do for the rest of this? That's a good question. Do I just buy Higurashi then? I could. How much longer is this? We have 13 minutes left? Damn it. You've got to be kidding me. So you know what? For the time being, we're not doing a Let's Play of this for a long time, but just to have some gameplay in the background. Let's play some Sega Hard Girls. Ah, shit, it has to be full screen, doesn't it? Hold on. Pause. Let's try to exit the full screen in this game. Okay. Man, I was looking forward to it.
Super Dimension Neptune versus Sega Hard Girls.
Config. Video. Windowed. Apply and return. Why is it not possible to shrink this thing? You gotta be kidding me! Ah, I can't play this in the background. Okay. And what do I do? What do I do indeed? Do I just buy Higurashi? What do I have in my inventory? Shit. Hold on. Oh right, I did some gameplay of this. You know what? Store. Search Higurashi. I didn't realize that it was so short. Okay. Yeah, we'll read Higurashi here. When They Cried, Chapter 1. So they have Onikakushi. Okay, they do. Oh, Cool, it's free. Word? Mm, didn't realize they didn't let you upload that far in. That's insane. Okay, back. Play. Yes, next. Are you serious, guys? Okay, play. Okay, so for the next time, we're gonna be reading Higurashi. I didn't fucking realize how short Kikoya was. Okay, English. Is that really how it looks? It has no full screen support at all? It's nuts. It's horrible. Okay. Okay, that kind of sucks that there's no full screen support, but you know what? That's fine. Configure. Message speed, fine. Auto mode, message speed. Put it to the max. Media, volume, skip unread text on. Right click function manually, show menu. Character confirmation box. Character sprites, language in English. Let's put it in English. Character sprites updated. On updated English. Allow skip unread text on. Allow hide interface on. Sound volume will go to here. Background music volume will probably go to here. Okay. Oh, I do have other ones. So what is this? That's slightly better. I'll think about the setup later, but for now, let's just use this. Character sprites on updated. Okay, close. Start. Welcome to the world of Higurashi when they cry. The only Kakshi arc will be the opening inviting you into this world. Don't play tough. Please just enjoy life in Hamzawa to the fullest. The difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you'll enjoy the reward. That was creepy. Please do not lament. I will forgive you, even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament. I will forgive you, even if you will not forgive the world. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Frederica Brinkstell. Okay? This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or organization is entirely coincidental. 1983 AD, early summer in the 58th year of Showa era. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly, sobbing voice, and those tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical, repetitious in sound finally stilted and everything fell silent. Only the cry of the cicadas remained annoyingly loud. And yet, I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She is no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there were none to show. She had no tears to shed for me. Then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. That's why. This pain, my eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me. I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind with her. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Besides, this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Perhaps I really did. Love you. Higurashi When They Cry presents Welcome to Hinamizawa When They Cry. Somebody had been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I have lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads. The melodious cacophony of the crosswalk. Even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only there's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, and the cry of the higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, the quietness had begun to install a sense of serenity. There is nothing where I am living now. I don't just mean there's aren't any burger joints, there aren't even vending machines, no music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town has some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. Come to think of it, it really wasn't a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody is still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will ever change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey, you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I finally rose from my nap by my father's prodding. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We'd spent hours riding everything from the bullet trains to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window and the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even from the same era. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountains. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up.
There, where I live now, Hinamizawa. Higurashi when they cry. Okay. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although, in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view, that air. Filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up, working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. It's such a laid back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw eggs, and grilled salmon. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you'd been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack, but after being praised for being good, full bowl of rice, or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with the egg. Bites between the rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Hold on, I thought there was a way to... Okay, menu. Isn't it possible to turn on voices? Configure it. Text box, transparency. Updated. Correct. Language. What if I did this? Oh, it turns the whole game into Japanese. Okay. I'm going to see if I can fix this later. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent, as usual. Watch me clean my plate. Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning. That was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend my cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Rena-chan? Hurry, hurry. Mom's really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Rena was one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just as lame. But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rena wait there for me every morning? Taking one last cup of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Rena-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning! Okay, it's good. Ohio. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometimes. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Cage good. You're so cold. I'll wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Rena had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. With those words, Rena seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Ah, thank you. And I think I'm going to leave it up there. Save. Save. Yes. Alright. That was fun. I'm going to try to see if I can get the mods for the game to make it so that I'm able to put voices on it. Because I don't want to just read that entire thing too. I want to at least be able to hear something. Therefore, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed.